You're listening to the Copywriter On Call podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Gillis, copywriter, word magic maker, and owner of What Sarah Said. On this podcast, you'll feel empowered to show up online in a way that has you saying, "That's so me." Let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Copywriter On Call podcast. I am your host, Sarah Gillis, and I am logging some on-call hours today with Natasha, a very talented photographer and longtime client of mine. Welcome to the Copywriter On Call podcast, Natasha.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so thrilled to chat with you today. So before we dive into all of the things and all of the ways we've worked together, I would love for you to take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do.
Absolutely. So I am Natasha Sewell of NPS Photography. I have been a photographer for over 11 years. I started as a posed newborn photographer with a studio and lighting and all the things, and relocated my business. So made a pivot to lifestyle and home photography, still doing newborns and families. And I am located in Washington, D.C. I am the mom to 3 grown humans and a Shih Tzu. And that's it. That's pretty much everything about me. I love working with my clients. I have also started mentoring, and I am so enjoying working with other photographers and helping them create a business they love.
I love that. I love that so much. When we initially connected, we met at a conference and Sabrina connected us. And it was so fun to get to know you through that experience. I loved our time at the Elevate conference. It was fantastic. And I think that really getting to know somebody when you are traveling is just the best way to get to know somebody. I think it's fun to chat about what kind of food you want to eat for lunch, where should we DoorDash from today, and all of the fun things. And so I love that that was like our initial meeting point.
Yeah, and we spent like that whole conference together.
Yeah, it was so
like we
fun.
sat next to each other. It was a great conference. And it just also was, it's always nice to have a buddy at one of those and someone to pal around with. So it was, we were fast friends.
Absolutely. It was so fun. So initially after that conference, we kind of chatted all about your website copy. And that's when we really kind of started working together to polish up your website copy. So I would love to know kind of what your priorities were when we initially started to work on your copy, especially as somebody who has moved her business from one state to another, and different markets, really different markets in that way too.
Yes. So that was why I was really interested in working with you on my website copy, was because I had lived in rural North Carolina. And for a couple years, I had run my business in both North Carolina and DC, but they are very different markets. DC is a very cosmopolitan city, and rural North Carolina is not. So my ideal client really shifted when I moved my business. So I needed to sort of up-level my copy and just refine it some to really meet the needs and appeal to my ideal client currently versus my ideal client in North Carolina. So that is why I was like, Sarah, is this something you can help me with? So it was so great having you refresh that copy and just gear it in a different direction.
I feel like there were so many aspects of your website that were already working so well. I mean, your branding was really beautiful. It was refined, and it really was just about marrying the words to kind of the design and the way that you approach your clients and the way that you want to serve them. And so I feel like so many elements were working so well. It was just about bringing the words to match.
I totally agree with you. There was a little bit of a disconnect between the words and the rest of the website. So yeah, and you did such a great job. I mean, it really works well together, the whole thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So since then, we have worked together in different capacities, but it's been so fun to watch your business evolve. As you mentioned at the top, you've recently gotten really, really good at mentoring other photographers and have really focused on helping other people build their businesses. And I would love to just kind of chat with you about what it's been like for you supporting other photographers and helping them to run successful businesses.
It has been a lot of fun. So I was a very hesitant educator.
Mm-hmm.
I am a teacher. That is what my degree is in. I used to teach elementary education, first grade. And so I had that teacher like nature to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, what does anyone want to learn from me?
Mm-hmm.
So it was sort of a bit overwhelming getting into it initially. But then once I started going, I'm like, oh, it's like teaching first grade because I get to see the wins. And
Mm.
that is what is so powerful. So I have just loved working with other photographers and helping them create a business that works for them and the stage of life they're in. I'm in a very different stage than a lot of the photographers I work with. I'm an empty nester. A lot of them have young kids and their businesses look different than mine. And that's the great thing is it can, and it should be about where they are in their life. So it's just been a really fun thing to delve into.
I love that. As a former teacher myself, like working with other people to support them as they grow their businesses is like all of the good stuff about teaching
Yes.
without all of the crummy stuff like administrative reports and all of
Parent
the things.
conferences.
Yes. And like I just love like being able to see the wins, like you said, without all of the icky admin stuff that sometimes
Right.
gets in the way. It's
Right.
really wonderful to have
And
a
it's
front row
also
seat.
great when you work one-on-one with someone, you really see those aha moments. When you're teaching a classroom of kids, sure, you see them, but it's not as easy to spot them. So it's
Yeah.
so much fun to work one-on-one with photographers and really see those wins and see them implement things and have
Yeah,
success with it. That's
absolutely.
really great.
And I love the ability to like tailor something to someone's needs, really focus in on, like you said, where they're at in their lives and how we as educators can really help to support them in making their business work for them instead of
Absolutely.
really
I have
working the other way.
worked with photographers that literally were just setting up their business. They
Mm,
needed to know all the steps to have a legal business, all the way to photographers that have been in business for over 8 years. So,
mm.
in that is fun because people are in different spots in their business, and I can just tailor what we talk about and to where they are.
Yes, I love that. So as you've stepped more and more into education, how have your copy and content needs evolved as your business has and as you've added these new aspects to your business?
So, I have been trying to kind of delve into two things: educating my clients, my photography clients, but also being an authority and sharing my knowledge on photography.
Mm.
So it's sort of a tricky thing to straddle.
Yeah.
And you have helped so much in my copy and my blog posts and refining my thoughts
Mm.
into actual words that work and explain what I'm doing. So it's been great, but it's been fun to share parts of my business that I've never shared before, the behind the scenes stuff that I don't share with my clients. Why do they want to know the tools I use or the things I do? And so that's been really fun doing both, of having continuing to educate my clients, but also, sharing behind the scenes stuff on my business.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like you are so unique in that you are still actively photographing clients and that's something that you so much like love and don't necessarily see like going bye anytime soon, but you also really love the opportunity to build up other photographers and to help them grow businesses. And so it is a unique posture to be in where you're educating a client on how they can prepare for their session or how they can walk into a session experience feeling confident, but you're also showing the behind the scenes of this is what I told my client this week to help them feel comfortable. How can you put your personal spin on this new photographer, for instance?
Exactly. So it's sort of showing both sides, I guess, of the business, which hopefully isn't confusing people.
No, I mean, I feel like it's doing a good job in terms of whenever we chat, especially about retainer content, it's like, okay, who's the audience for this? And let's make sure we really nail down what that audience needs to know, right? Especially when you're straddling multiple audiences, it's so important to be really clear about who you're speaking to and what the takeaway is. And I feel like you are so good at that.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I was pretty excited. I did a what to wear thing, and you helped me write a blog.
Yeah.
But I then shared it on social media about how to build an outfit, and it was really for my client, or a wardrobe rather, for a session. It was really for my clients, but also for photographers, and both embraced it. And I was like, yes, I found a crossover, because that's the tricky part, is finding something that actually appeals to both audiences, which isn't always the case, but it was nice because that really did.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's something that regardless of whether you're a client or you're a photographer, you need to like nurture. That's a outfit selection, and really coordinating well for a session is something that no matter who the audience is, that might be the best crossover ever, because everybody needs that information.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was excited about that one. Because it's nice when you can merge them.
Yes, of course. Of course. So we've worked together on retainer for, probably 9 or so months. And it's been so fun to see your business evolve and to have a front seat to just really get to know your business well. What has it been like for you to have someone like me on retainer, where you can field and funnel tasks my way every month?
So I'm not a writer. This is not what I have any training in. I'm pretty sure any creative writing class I ever took, if I did take one, the teachers were like, yeah, maybe not your thing. So taking something that you're not, and I'm using air quotes, good at, and passing it off to someone who is good at it is such a relief. And so I have no problem coming up with the ideas. It's just how to then formulate it and get it into words. So that has been such a huge thing for me, is passing that off to you. And I love the way you structure your retainer clients, because we have a phone call in the beginning of the month. And that is so great, because I know at the end of the phone call, you have all the information you need, and I don't need to, not that I worry about it, but I don't need to think about it anymore. Yeah. And that is such a relief for me. And it's just such a great process that you have. There's not a lot of back and forth. That's what I like to not have. When I'm working with someone, I don't want to have constant questions coming in. Okay, well, what about this? What about that? And you are so great about asking the questions, and getting the answers, and I share more things with you so that you just can go with it. And it's a relief to me.
Yeah, that's really the goal, is to save the business owner time, right? And especially for you, like, sure, you may be an empty nester, but you're also kind of living this bi-coastal life right now, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. But you're a busy lady. You are constantly serving clients, you're being with your family, you are building up this education side of your business. And it's so important to me as the service provider to make sure that I'm actually saving you time. I'm not giving you more to-dos that you then funnel to me. It's a time for us to collaboratively chat and say, what's coming up in your business this month and how can I support you?
Yeah, and that is what I love about working with you, because you have really perfected that process.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I mentioned kind of the bi-coastal life you're living. I want to hear a little bit about what's next for you in your business and how that kind of bi-coastal life is funneling into that.
Yes. So we live in Washington, D.C. full time. My husband's medical practice is here, but we kind of on a whim bought a house in Palm Springs, California. We love Palm Springs. It is our happy place, but we really had no intention of buying a house there. But just the right house came on the market and it was the right time. So we bought this house, and I am hoping to utilize that space for some educational experiences. And I'm really excited to hopefully launch something the end of this year.
That's so exciting. I have myself have never been to Palm Springs, but I've been to California, and like, get me to California
Yeah.
anytime. That is like, when you said happy place, I'm like, of course, isn't California everyone's happy place? I mean, it sounds like, from what you shared on Instagram and the pictures you shared, it looks like an idyllic place to really nurture some photographers as you kind of help them build their businesses.
Yeah,
So I love this new adventure for you.
it's just a fun place. Like I literally can't stop smiling when I'm there. And
That's the best.
so it's special. It's not easy to get to for us from the East Coast, but that's okay. We've figured it out, and yeah, I'm excited to see how I can combine it in my business.
Yeah, I love that. And at the very same time, just having a place for you and your husband to kind of escape from the busyness of the city life and just have that place to relax and to enjoy with your family too. Like, all of the things are wonderful in that regard as well.
Yeah, well, when you have grown kids, you'll see this because you have boys too.
Yeah.
You realize you need to have someplace they want to come.
Yes.
So far, only one of our kids has been out so far, but he's obsessed with it and loves it. And I'm like, yes, okay, we did it.
We did it. Mission accomplished.
Right.
I love it. I love it. Well, as you are kind of looking forward to 2025 and getting ready to kind of launch this new educational retreat type of feel, I would love to know what your priorities are as you look into growing your business in this next year. Obviously, launching this new educational side of your business is a big priority for you. But what about the clients that you continue to serve at home in DC? What's a priority for you there as you grow?
So I have something very exciting that will be launching to my photography clients probably in the next month. It won't be available to book until January, but it is an add-on to their session, and it is something that a lot of people have asked me for, and really no one in the DC area offers. And so I am super excited to be offering this. So I'm not going to spill the beans yet, but it's a really exciting thing, and I think my clients are really going to enjoy it. And it's something new. In case you didn't know, I love education. I personally love learning and pushing myself. And so this is something new I've had to learn. And it's been really even more fun than I thought it would be. So yeah, I'm excited. And hopefully the end of October, I will be launching this out to my photography clients and they can start booking it in January.
I love it. I cannot wait to see what their reaction is. I think that they're going to be so excited to be served in this way.
I think so too. It's a really fun thing.
Really fun. I love it.
If what's being shared in this episode is inspiring you to bring more of your personality into how you show up online, I've got a quiz for you. Head over to whatsarahsaid.com/quiz and discover your brand voice type so that you can feel confident in standing out through your words. This quiz will help you uncover the brand voice that's already within you, so your words can finally have you and your dream clients saying, "That's so me." Knowing your brand voice type means you'll have full permission to ditch the proper and polite copy if your authentic voice is actually quirky and fun. Your brand voice is what I call word magic, because honing it creates literal magic for you and your dream clients. Plus, after your brand voice type is revealed, you'll get access to 5 free social media prompts to help you share your voice right away. So what are you waiting for? Take this fun quiz now at whatsarahsaid.com/quiz.
As we close today, for someone who's never worked with a copywriter before, what do you think is important for them to know, either if they're hiring someone one time or on a recurring basis like you and I work together?
I think it's really important to trust the person, but also really important to give real feedback. So most likely a copywriter is not going to get your voice immediately. Like, it's going to be a little bit of a process, and you just have to be honest and you'll get there. And it's amazing when you do. And now, I mean, I rarely have anything you need to add or revise, or because you've we work together enough and it's a great fit, but it's just important to trust the process. And it is a process. It's not going to be something that's like an immediate, oh, you read it and you're like, great. Like the first time you've ever worked with someone. I think tweaks are going to need to be made. So just trust the process and trust the person that you've hired.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. I think it's similar to like hiring like a virtual assistant or an editor for your photography. There's going to be some kinks along the way, and trusting the process, being patient along the way, and giving that really clear feedback is so important to making sure that the relationship is mutually beneficial in that regard.
Absolutely. And I think that's true with most things in your business, branding or, anything like that. Like you just have to be honest too.
Yeah, absolutely. As a writer who has literally received like feedback and criticism my entire career, it's so important to have that feedback and to know specifically what's working and what I can do better. And that's why I always love the revision process that's built into the retainers, because we have the time to do that. Like it's not, I need to put this live today and I don't have any time to chat about it with you. It gives us the time to build that content out over the months and to really have that give and take.
Absolutely. And the more you work with someone, the less revisions you're going to need. And the less, I mean, a lot of times most of the time you send me stuff now and I'm like, looks great. I love it. Yeah. And because I can hear myself saying those things that you've put in there because we have that relationship. So that's another great thing about working on retainer with someone.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thanks so much for sharing and for chatting with me today. It's always so wonderful to connect with you, and I'm sending you a big virtual hug. I would love to have you tell us a little bit about this new freebie that you have for client experience. Please share.
Yes. So I actually have 2 freebies for photographers, but my newest one is client experience, and it's how to utilize your website for client experience. And it is all about making your life easier. So if you have these resources on your website, you can send your clients there rather than spending all your time in your email, going back and forth with them, or funneling questions or all of those things. And you end up with prepared clients at the end. And it also boosts your SEO a little because you're having all those hits to your website. So I would love to have any photographers out there grab my new freebie.
I love it. We'll make sure that the link is available for you in the show notes. It's been so fun to see this freebie in particular come to life because I feel like it's something that everybody needs. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm a website copywriter, but driving traffic to your website versus like a pretty PDF in Canva, it just makes sense.
It really does. And it's so easy to do. And it saves you time in the long run. So, I mean, that's the thing everybody needs to remember.
I love that. I love that. Well, thanks again for sharing your experience as a retainer client with the audience today. I am so excited to share that I have a couple spots open for retainer clients starting in October. So feel free to head to the show notes for more information. But as always, thank you guys so much for listening. And this is your Copywriter on Call signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Copywriter on Call podcast. If this episode has you feeling all sorts of inspired to show up as yourself online, click that subscribe button so you don't miss my stories or practical advice to help you express your quirky, vulnerable, and authentic self online. Chat soon.